Hi guys, today we are going to talk about a book called Beyond Belief by colm Gorman. This is basically a memoir about a boy growing up in Ireland. The story starts in the town of uh, Wexford in October 2001. It is basically about a boy called Coleman O'Gorman who is a child living in Ireland in Wexford, and he has a few siblings and a mother and a father. And Ireland is a Christian and a Catholic country, and the church rules over there. What happens is that the young child called Coleman or Gorman is sexually assaulted by the priest, and the priest is called Fortune. So he's sexually abused, and he doesn't tell anyone about it, not even his parents. And then, out of shame and guilt, he just loses up on, gives up on life. He doesn't know what to do. He just feels so ashamed of himself, and he has so much guilt inside him for what has happened to him with no fault of his own. And he doesn't tell anyone about what happens, and then he has to suffer a lot because of that. And then he becomes a gay, and then he goes to Dublin, Ireland, which is the capital of Ireland, and then he goes to London and keeps on switching, and then he stays there. Uh, what happens next is that he still feels so much shame and guilt because of the abuses that he suffered, and then he decides to speak up against the priest who had sexually abused him. He starts that by telling people what has happened, and then he finds out that there were other young children who were sexually abused as well by the same priest called Fortune, and he is just devastated and he doesn't know what to do. So he sues the Pope. That's what he does. He sues the Pope for doing this. So he finally speaks up about the abuses that he has suffered. He wants the world to know what happens, but in his society in Ireland, people cannot imagine or believe that someone like a priest could do that to young children, and they fail to accept that. But he fights his case and wants to bring justice for him and also for the other children who have been sexually abused by the priest. And then what happens is that his father passes away, and the priest commits suicide, and that's what happens in the book actually. And that's the whole story of the young child who had to suffer so much in Ireland, growing up in Ireland as a young boy, due to the hands of a priest who sexually abuses him. By the way, I think this is a true story, which I have read, and it was pretty depressing and disturbing to learn that how a priest could do that to a young child and ruin his life and make him suffer so much. So that's what happened in the book, guys. And what happens next is that he runs a campaign or like a movement in which he wants to bring awareness about sexual abuse and how we should be protect our children, adults, and people from sexual abuse, and about how the priests and the were responsible for sexually abusing different children and how it needs to stop, and what he did to do that. So this was a brilliant book. It was a powerful story and a unique story about a boy who grew up in Ireland and had to suffer a lot because of a priest who sexually abused him, and about how he had to suffer and go through so much trauma and misery. But the good thing is, and then he becomes a gay. But the good thing is that he speaks up for the for himself and for the other children who were sexually abused by the same priest and other priests as well. So this was a lovely book, and I enjoyed reading it, and it was a brilliant book actually. I really enjoyed reading this book, and I would recommend you guys to and read it and enjoy it. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked my review of this book, Beyond Belief by colm or Gorman, and hope you would like to read this book as well if you are interested in how people are sexually abused all around the world and what we must do to fight it. Okay, bye guys.